53 years later, the New York Knicks are once again NBA champions. Congratulations to the New York Knicks for their performance and going into San Antonio and closing the series on the road with a gentleman's sweep 4-1. The last time the Knicks won a championship, the NBA didn't have a three-point line. The NBA did not have the Larry O'Brien trophy yet. It was still the Walter Brown trophy. The average salary at the time was $85,000. Internet was barely a thing, and platforms like Google, YouTube that we on, Facebook, WhatsApp did not exist. This has been such a long time coming, and the New York Knicks made it. They made it happen. New York is probably in shambles right now, and we just gonna talk about it. And congratulations once again to this team for the incredible path. Teams like the Orlando Magic, the Dallas Mavericks, and the Minnesota Timberwolves did not even exist the last time the Knicks won a championship. Shout out to the New York Knicks and their players, their fans, their front office for an amazing season. It was once again an incredible game that started off per usual with the San Antonio Spurs taking the lead, going up 16 at some point in the game, and as usual, the Knicks found a way to come back in this game, take the lead back and win this championship, win this game and therefore win this championship. And they did it because of one guy and one guy only in this game, Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson was astonishing in this game. He scored 45 points in 41 minutes. The rest of the team, I believe, the rest of the bench scored 49 points, if I'm not mistaken. He didn't have much help this game, but decided that he's the captain. He's going to close this thing. He realized the importance of the moment, to not give any momentum back to his San Antonio Spurs team. Realized it was the moment, decided to close this game. OG Anunoby struggled offensively today. He only had 11 points. Karl-Anthony Towns was in foul trouble once again, only played 23 minutes in this game. 2 points, 10 rebounds still, but struggled offensively. Mikal Bridges tried to help with 14 points. Josh Hart with 13, but the captain, Big Body Brunson, decided that this was his moment to show why he deserved the Finals MVP ahead of OG Anunoby, who had an amazing and incredible series also, but decided that today was the day that he was going to show the world why he's the number one option on that Knicks team and why he's probably now the second greatest Knicks player of all time, if not the best. This is a conversation that I will let Knicks fans have amongst themselves, but incredible performance by Brunson. 45 points, 4 of 7 from the 3, really efficient on the field. 14 of 27 too. And the Knicks, like I said, go ahead and take this championship in San Antonio's house. Shout out to Mike Brown, who was able to show his poise and tactical efficiency throughout this whole series. His experience as opposed to Mitch Johnson. Great coaching by Mitch Johnson and the first adjustment from the Atlanta Hawks series, where he was able to put the ball more in Karl-Anthony Towns' hands. And it was a momentum switch for the Knicks from there. And they then go and blow the Philadelphia 76ers, my team. I hope y'all seeing what the Knicks are doing, Philadelphia front office, but we'll talk about this another time. Go ahead and blow the Sixers, blow the Cavs, get some well-deserved rest, especially for OG Anunoby, who was dealing with the hamstring injury. And now they come and get the San Antonio Spurs in 5 during the NBA Finals. I want to shout out the Knicks front office also and Jim Dolan for not only being willing to spend. I think the 5 starters are making $20+ million, but besides the starters, their ability to go ahead and most likely he's not going to be retained unless he's taking a cut, but guys like Mitchell Robinson, going at the trade deadline to get guys like Jordan Clarkson, Jose Alvarado, going and getting him from New Orleans at the trade deadline, Jeremy Sohan, who wasn't really impactful in this series, but you don't know what he was able to do in terms of scouting, for instance, because he was on that San Antonio team. Going to get guys like that, Deuce McBride, Landry Shamet, who was barely on a guaranteed contract at the training camp this year. Shout out to this Knicks organization for being able to make these moves. I didn't agree at the time, but I gotta give them credit now, even if I still don't agree with it. But getting a guy like Mikal Bridges for 5 picks, which was what I didn't agree with at the time, the amount of picks, but it finally pays off with the championship. Go and trade for a guy like Josh Hart. Sign Jalen Brunson as a free agent that nobody thought was the number one option. Trading for Karl-Anthony Towns and OG Anunoby and paying OG Anunoby after the trade. Being that aggressive for the past 3-4 years. Putting that roster together, making sure that the chemistry and the camaraderie on the team with the Villanova boys, Brunson, Hart, and Bridges, is there. They're one in college together. They come back here in the NBA and win. Being able to part ways with Coach Tom Thibodeau last season after him getting them back into the conference finals. That was a ballsy decision by the front office there, Leon Rose, and getting another proven coach with Mike Brown. Those are ballsy and courageous decisions that you gotta give a shout out to the Knicks front office for making, and not being afraid of being in the apron and the tax and paying the penalty to be in the tax. All of these have paid out now. And you can only tip your hat off and applaud the Knicks for their amazing run. Jalen Brunson has been amazing throughout this season, and in particular during this last game of the series. With his performance, he's proven once again that you can win with a small guard, but that guard needs to have heart, dedication, hard work, and incredible talent, and that's what he's displayed, from him barely getting a contract or a decent contract when the Mavericks, when he was a free agent with the Mavericks with Luka Doncic, to him taking a pay cut of over $100 million to allow the Knicks to be able to extend Mikal Bridges and keep the core together. You don't see NBA stars doing that all the time. I don't necessarily encourage them to do that anyway, because that's not their role, and the ownership can just pay the tax if they want to. I would never ask a player to do that, but he decided to do it. It paid off now. You can see it. Wins his championship with his dad as an assistant coach. Nothing but respect and appreciation for what he's done. Shout out once again to the New York Knicks, their front office, their fans. Not all of them, but some of the fans are really annoying, but it is what it is. We're not gonna dwell on that at this moment. Shout out once again to the Knicks. The San Antonio Spurs with really shameful performance once again by De'Aaron Fox. 37 minutes, 7 points, 3 for 15, 1 of 8 from the 3-point line. Didn't have it tonight either. I'm now really wondering how much of that ankle was an issue for D Fox, but he's gonna have to do some soul searching this offseason. I'm not sure what's gonna happen. I don't think they go ahead and trade him yet, but he's gonna have to do some soul searching and come back really better next season, especially in the playoffs, if he wants to continue with the Spurs. Stephen Castle also was in foul trouble, but wasn't really good. 6.1 of 10 from the field. That wasn't good enough, especially in an elimination game. Wemby was also not good. He was impactful defensively per usual, but 7 of 19 and 1 of 6 from the 3 is not going to do it. 19 points in 38 minutes is not going to cut it. When you want to be the best, you got to show up in these games and be dominant. Go for 30, 35, 40, especially when Brunson is going off. But this is a learning curve for them. they're gonna be better. They're gonna come back stronger and better. First playoff experience for most of these guys, and one thing that Wemby needs to do this offseason is continue to bulk up, develop a post game and a mid range. I think it's gonna be beneficial for him to probably work with guys like Tim Duncan for the fundamentals, Dirk Nowitzki to be able to learn how not to be putting the ball on the floor so much, but also being able to play play with your size, being able to quickly while having the ball up in your hands, because when he has it over there, he's pretty much unguardable, and having your go-to move and making your shots. I think those are guys that I believe will be really good for him to work with, and obviously he can continue working with Hakeem if he wants to, but I think he needs to develop. This playoff series has shown that he needs to bulk up some more and develop a post game, a mid-range game that better his mid-range game, because he somewhat has some already, but needs to improve in that range, and more importantly develop a post game. So great experience for them. They overachieved. Mitch Johnson is also going to get better. I wouldn't go ahead and get he did some unexcusable things at some point, but I wouldn't go and fire him. I think you continue to develop with him also. That was just his first year as a head coach. First full year as a head coach. Dylan Harper, what a player. What a player that the Spurs drafted and got for the foreseeable future. This is going to be a tough decision to make, in as far as like, what do you do with De'Aaron Fox? You move him now, especially with the contract that he has, to try to give the reign to Dylan Harper, who is showing you that he's ready to be in that backcourt with Stephen Castle already? Or do you give it one more year to try to, let him develop, run the second unit, and then make that decision at the end of next summer? It will be interesting to see how the front office reacts to that, but I think he should have played more, especially the ball should have been in his hands in those last minute, in those crucial minutes of the end of the game, in several games this series, but you can't go back to it now. But what a player that the Spurs have. Like I said, they're all going to continue to get better. Castle and Harper are going to develop a three-point line shot, I believe, and going to be more consistent from there. They're already pretty good defensively. I think they get better in their playmaking ability and learn from this playoff experience also. And more importantly, the Spurs have $20 million that are coming off with Harrison Barnes' contract this offseason. They still have some picks in this draft. I believe they continue to develop their young players like Carter Bryant, for instance. We will talk about that later, but they need some help in the front court. They need a true power forward, in my opinion, who can be able to shoot the ball, but also be impactful not only offensively but defensively. Thinking guys like a Bobby Portis, for instance, can come and be great addition for the Spurs, but that's a conversation for another day. We'll see what they do with that cap space there. They might have some questions also as for the backup big Luke Cornett, who they signed for a long-term contract. Hasn't really been great in this series. He was pretty decent for the whole season, but in the playoffs he wasn't really great, which forced Mitch Johnson to play Wemby a lot. They're going to learn from all this. I think they were pretty much tired also from the Thunder series where they went 7 and the Knicks had all this rest. But hey, shout out once again to the New York Knicks. That's pretty much all I have for this episode. We're going to be talking more throughout the offseason with what teams need to do and how they need to get better for this upcoming season. But in the meantime, thank you for being with us throughout this whole NBA season. Subscribe to the channel, like the videos, share them within your community, and I'll catch you guys at the next episode. Ciao.